And welcome back to the Flow Sports Fix on this Thursday evening. We've got the World Game to discuss a bit later on. Also the AFL tips. What are your selections? We've got the Statmans for you lined up for you very, very soon. But right now it's time to go to local football, and the Flow Man, he's taking us to the river.
It was the Jervois Bloods who came across the river and won the footy match. It was the match of the season, and these two great rivals across a ferry distance of the River Murray away from each other. And it was Jervois 14-20, 104 to Tailem Ben 10-8, 68. It was close right through till three-quarter time. Jervois weren't kicking straight, but Big Scott booted 8, and he was the difference between the two sides, along with the local boy Klasky. Magnificent name at Jervois. They win this St. Lochan Cup that have been fought over by these two clubs for many years. It was B. Zaddo, B. Franks and N. Hansen for Tailem Ben. They would be disappointed, the top side losing their first match of the season, joined now on premiership points equally by their cross-river rival. It was another big win for Manham. They went over to Maipalonga along the river, 17-9, 111 to 7-6, 48 in another rivals river clash. And in the other match, it was a rivals clash between the Murray Bridge Imperials. They're at Johnson Park on their home deck, and they thrashed their cross-town rival at Ramblers, 29-9, 183 to 7-7, 49 in the Battle of the Bridge. Over to Riverland Independent Football, and in a low-scoring, hard-fought match, it went down to the wire between Blanchetown, Swan Reach and Cobdogla. It was won by the Redbacks, 5-7-37 to Cobdogla, 4-10-34. It was not a high-scoring, inspirational game by any means, but toughly fought out at Blanchetown Oval. And Sedan Cambrai did likewise in a tough fought-out win over at Paringa. They won 11-3, 69 to Paringa, 8-5, 53. Meanwhile, Wonka, 33 goals, 23, annihilated the poor old Brownswell, 1-4-10, and these are two rivals from the Mallee Paddocks, Wonka and Brownswell. This time around, it was Wonka thrashing Brownswell, and I know Brownswell have thrashed Wonka a few times over the years, so a bit of payback. 12-goal first quarter to Wonka, and it was all over at that point in time. Jeffrey Beale with 5 apiece, and L. Bill, Zed Lawrence and D. Hampel, best players for Wonka. T. Braun, the only goal scorer for Brownswell. J. Shannon, D. Island and B. Hampel on their side of it. A lot of Hampels living in that part of the Northern Mallee. And as we finalise our look at the results for the weekend, we head now to the Riverland Football League and a round 3 action. There were some absolute beauties, all one-sided, but the scorelines interesting in themselves. It was Waikerie 11-9-75 to beat Barmera Monash, 1 goal, 5-11. That was at the Lakeside Oval, and Riverland football normally a more high-scoring comp, and the first goal kicked there in the third quarter by Barmera Monash. Spenceley with 3 for Waikerie, and S. Braun and H. Bigwood and M. Taylor, they're better players, and Frid with the only goal for Barmera Monash, and J. Sullivan, J. Smith and S. Butterworth, they're better players on the day. In other games, it was Loxton, 23 goals, wait for this, 2 behinds, 140, beat Berry 11-8, 74. That is as good a kicking as you see. I mean, obviously a couple of points, but, if you get to 20 goals and you've only kicked 2 points, you have to say that that is pretty good going there by the boys from the Tigers. They have had a really good start to the season, and they look like the form side of this competition. And look, they could well take it right up to the boys from Renmark and Waikerie, who have been the two stellar sides in recent times. So well done to Loxton, who have shown what they can do from going from bottom in 2019, now sitting near the top of the ladder in Riverland football, kicking so straight too. 9 goals in the first quarter straight, 14-1 at half-time, 20 goals 2 at three-quarter time, 23-2 with a late fight back from Berry, putting some respectability into it with their 11 goals 8 scoreline. It was a 66-point margin to Loxton. Wesley 5 for Berry in the match. Well, it was a big win by Renmark, 19-11-125 over Loxton North, 11-1-67 again. Another side kicking really accurately, but in a losing venture, Loxton North kept themselves in it with straight scoring, with the veteran Michael Arnold kicking 3 goals, and L. Henschke and J. Worsfold, they're better players, and A. Haynes with 4 for Renmark. Renmark, and T. Wolford, M. Wolford. Those Wolford boys are pretty good, and Zunic were their better players on the day. So it is, along the River Murray, a good look at what happened in weekend country football scores, and we look forward to bringing you the previews of matches on our Friday night sports show.
Back tomorrow from 4 till 7 right here on Flow. The Flow Man and the Stat Man looking at local football right across the Flow region. We've gone from one river now to a Golden River.
Golden Rivers from last weekend, where Mullameen 21-14, 140 beat Hay 8-10-58. It was at Hay. The two New South Wales sides battled it out, and wow, what a big win for Mullameen. They have really come of age this year and look a real threat for at least finals, but who knows how deep they can go. Well, they might have to play Nullawil, and that's going to be a big cause for them, because Nullawil beat Wandella 21-13, 139 to Wandella 6-10-46. And if Nullawil and Wandella are 1 and 3 in the league in the pre-match discussion, then they're certainly not that anymore. A magnificent performance by Nullawil. They are the real deal, as they have been for a long time. Interesting score lines too there, that both Mullameen and Nullawil almost kicked exactly the same score in their victories. Mullameen 21-14, 140, Nullawil 21-13, 139, and it was wins by both clubs over the weekend. Quambatook 12-14, 86 beat Murrabit 7-6-48, and this is a terrific performance by Quambatook, because they have just at the start of the year, new recruits come to the club. There was a bit of conjecture as to how well they're going to play, where they can get Quambatook off the bottom and so on. Well, Collicote with 4 goals, Blackwell, Bradbury and Davis helped him out. They look like they're going to be a side to be reckoned with. A big win for them over Murrabit there by 6 goals on the weekend. And finally, the tide has turned, and Ultima, one of the great clubs of this competition, really struggling now. McCorner beat them 17-12, 114 to Ultima 7-15-57. The Blue and Whites have been right up there for a number of years, but it wasn't to be. Simon's their leading kicker with 4, and Farrell and Bull, and Simon's a better player, along with Del Medico, who can play. But gee, Ultima lacking the Cattle and McCorner, who have been one of the lowly sides of the competition, able to get home really comfortably. And this week's round 5 action is Hay, a chance to keep Ultima on the bottom of the ladder. Mullameen play Quambatook in a beauty of a game. I think at Mullameen the Swans could be too strong. Murrabit get Nullawil, and again Nullawil will be too strong. And then Wandella play McCorner, 2 old rivals, the Bombers versus the Tigers, like a Dreamtime game. It's at the W, Wandella. Yes, it's going to be a big weekend of Golden Rivers. Let's head our way across down south of Victoria now and have a look at some Colac and District. Round 5 from the weekend. And in a pretty sad situation at Birregurra Recreation Reserve, an alleged action of a spectator pulling a knife toward an umpire in what was Birregurra's big loss to Alvey, 11-11, 77-3, 12-30. I'll tell you what, there should be none of that activity in any way whatsoever. Ban those sorts of people from any game for life. I guess it gets down to how do you do that. But really, terrible situation that the allegation of that circumstance has been made. Top versus bottom in a weekend match. South Colac 26-8. The top beat Otway Districts 3-6. Staying on the bottom with that scoreline was a massive win by South, and with the Big Lynch kicking 7, Cox and Black, J Black both booted 6, and T Black and J Black were the better players for the boys from South Colac. Simpson 19-17, too good for the Western Eagles 5-7, and a great performance from Simpson, the Tigers here, and they picked up this win with a comprehensive first half and ran out comfortable winners. Drayton and Hawkins both booted 3, Island, Wintle and L. Hawkins, they're better players. And then finally it was Illawarra 13-6, 84 in a big upset over Lorne 8-10, 58. If you don't mind, how about that? The Bombers are really starting to show something after a real slow start start to this season. And Lawn starting to just wobble about a bit at Stribling Reserve there, a bit unusual for them. And Apollo Bay 8-5-53 beat Colac Imperials 5-7-37. And Apollo Bay rarely win out at the Western Oval, so that was a great win by the Bay over the weekend. That is a look at some of the results that happened. A quick look at some big games ahead of us in the Hume Football League this weekend. I reckon the choice match is Ramwell-Bundary Walla playing CDHBU over at Rand. They are a couple of traditional rivals there at Rand. That should be an absolute beauty, that game. And then in the North Central, I reckon the game between Donald and Charlton, the two Blues, the Navies versus the Royals. If winner of this game sets the season up for potential finals, the loser starts to get a long way away from the pack. And then what about this up at Sunraysia? Owen United, their final hurrah for their season, a loss here to the Imperials would, at Blackburn Park, their home deck too, would see them, I think, curtains for the year. They need to win their senior footy match over the weekend.
And the preview for those games, that'll be coming up tomorrow on the Flow Sports Show. Listen out for the Flow Man and the Step Man between 4 and 7 p.m. right here on the Flow Network, right across the Flow region, wherever you may be listening. The Stat Man, he's coming up with your AFL selections up next.